Hello everyone, Watson Prunier here from Battle for Freedom. Sorry for the late delay on the start here. I'm out in the country, having a great opportunity to come out and visit my in-laws who are celebrating their 50th anniversary, their 50th wedding anniversary. I don't know how many people of you out there have the opportunity to say that you know people who have gone through that great experience. But you know what? It's a great time seeing and meeting new people and just watching beautiful history take place. My wife and I will be celebrating 7 years in a few weeks, and we've got 43 more on top of that to try and see if we can make 50. So I'm going to do the best that I can is to work out, eat healthy, and see if we can stay alive. So if this woman could put up with me for 43 more years, that's another reason to celebrate more than just making 50 years. But you know, if I was going to say anything, listen, Watson Prunier, you can go to my website, which is www.battleforfreedom.com. On this Labor Day weekend, just having a great time. I'm talking about country love. Country love. It's not just the amazing thing of seeing a couple make it 50 years, meeting other couples that have gone 50 years and longer. But seeing country folk come together to support one another, love on one another, and make a weekend better than you can ever imagine. I think that this is something that we definitely need in this day and time where everybody's all stressed out, everybody's all constipated because of politics. I think we could do a whole lot better job on functioning and loving on one another if we just put our foolishness aside. And that's what I got a chance to see. A lot of people came together this weekend to show some love to my in-laws and let them have a great time. They're probably pooped right now, exhausted, running around like chickens with their head chopped off earlier. So this is a great weekend. I don't know if y'all will follow me on my Facebook page, and had some funny statements about going into stores back in Indianapolis with people calling me Darius Rucker. So I'm going to start a GoFundMe page. I look like Darius. See if anyone wants to support me on that so I can I can have as much money as Darius Rucker. Pay for a nice ranch for me and my family. I'll even start country music as well too. Although my wife doesn't want me to because she believes that women will be throwing themselves all over me. But I'd have to hire a few bodyguards. Maybe see if I can get the guys from Defenders of American Exceptionalism to have my back and just start beating the women down. Yeah, that's look like what Stephen Airy would do. You know, the strong, silent type. You know, those are the ones we got to worry about. But in all seriousness, this whole week, you know, as we go on to Labor Day weekend and we're just relaxing, we're barbecuing, we're going on vacation, and it's our last-ditch effort for the summer. You know, sometimes we think like this is time to just relax and take it easy, but honestly, we need to be all the more prepared because I don't know if many of you have been paying attention to the Farmer's Almanac, but they said we're about to get a really crazy winter. They said we're about to get a lot of snow and some extreme frost. So if that's the case, my question for you is how many of you are prepared and ready for the weather that's to come? How many of you are stocking up on wood? How many of you are stocking up on foods just in case you may not be able to make it out and get to any stores? Are you ready for this? I mean, I know it's Labor Day and everything like that, but if you're not even thinking about being prepared for this, the clothing you're going to need, the food you're going to need, you know, just the backup supplies in the event of anything going wrong, I don't know what to say to you. I mean, really, it's just too many opportunities. I believe that many of us right now, we're getting a little bit too comfortable. We've got a crazy midterm election coming up. Do not know which way this is going to go. You know, we already know we have a media and Democrat Party that's going to do everything they can to subvert the authority of our sitting president. And I still feel like there's a lot of you who just do not want to step up to the plate and wake up. I'm on my last chapter right now of reading a great book by Mac Taylor. And I've shared his book on my Facebook page. I really agree. The best way I can tell you is go out to Amazon.com and search Mac Taylor book. My goal is to get him interviewed and get him onto Battle for Freedom so that you can hear a little bit more about his story and the book that he's written, because of the fact that it's very powerful. You know, we sit here, we talk about socialism, we talk about the destruction for liberal progressivism of socialism and things like that. But how many of us are actually saying that we know this because we're just we just repeating? We're just basically shooting the rhetoric about saying that socialism is bad, but we haven't done the real history. We haven't done the due diligence to vet this thing out and basically say, look, here is socialism exhausted, and it just doesn't work. Let's not just use Venezuela. Yes, we know that Venezuela is a failed state. We know that they have all their problems. But I want to know how many of you are willing to do some research and have a better answer that you can share with people who are subscribing to that destructive ideology. Mac Taylor's book is going to be really a blessing to you, because it's going to show you a really dark history of socialism. It's going to show you a dark history of how it even existed in this country before we became a capitalist country, before we became a more free society. The dangers of socialism, of fascism, of communism are far greater than you could ever imagine. And what's really insane, because I'm going to have to give you a couple of nuggets on here, but you know what? We have socialism existing in our country right now. Socialists have taken over, and I'm telling you, if you got any country love, if you got any love for your country, I'm talking about let's get real, let's get homey, and let's really start basically paying attention to what's happening in our countries, in our communities, in our neighborhoods. If you got family members that are subscribing to socialism, they've got to be awakened. I think that far too many people are pre-programmed that they don't know any better. They don't know any better. The school systems are geared towards socialism. The business sectors are geared towards socialism. And one of the biggest nuggets that comes out of this book by Mac Taylor is socialism is the business system that basically decides to tell you, yeah, you have your own property, you have your own things, but the government's going to regulate it to death. And I don't know if you've paid attention, but we've got far too many regulations. We have far too many non-government entities who appear as to function as a swift arm of the government, exacting and enacting a lot of regulations on us of how we run our businesses, how we live in our homes. We don't have freedoms. When our children are wards of the state, we live in a socialist society. When we don't have the rights to raise our children the way that we want and the way that we desire, we live in a socialist society. But I feel that far too many of us, we've grown too lax. We've grown way too lax with the situation here and are not fully aware of how bad this really is. You know, again, when I look at all the regulations, when I think about how many people are just struggling to keep their businesses open, when people want, even one of the things that we attended this weekend, we were looking at a festival. It was almost like a county fair. And this county fair used to have a lot of vendors who were showing up to this event. It was packed. See how many rows of vendors were out there. You know what? It's not as big as it was before. I mean, still, don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of business there, and we picked up a few things even while we were there. A few trinkets for our kids to enjoy, but it's not as big. And even in Indianapolis too, our county fairs, our state fairs, the various different events that are taking place. People are struggling, and I know that it says that the economy is moving stronger. Maybe we just need to do a better job in advertising, promoting our businesses, because of the fact that you're blessed to live in one of the greatest countries in the world and in history right now. But what's your contribution? What are you doing? What are you doing to, as a phrase of the president, make America great again? Because if you're not taking any steps to better yourself, better your business, you're hurting the country. If you think this is, this is the land of the free. You can do whatever you want out here. And you know what? Hopefully you can be contributing to making it successful. But maybe it's the problem that we run into. We get mad at, immigrants trying to just live in, like the Muslims or the Hispanics, trying to live in their own little cities and be separated, and honestly be separated from the rest of the nation. Well, how many of you patriots out there doing that right now? Want to live off the grid? Live off the grid, be left alone, and pretty much doing the same exact thing that the illegal aliens or even some of the immigrants who are here legally are doing. Maybe they basically conform to the requirements of becoming an American citizen, but that's maybe about it on what they've done. And we've got people, and don't get me wrong, if you want to live off the grid, live off the grid. But I hope you don't live off the grid and sit there and speak ill of the people who do the same exact thing, but they just might be living in the city, in the inner city. Country love goes both ways, everyone. Country love is just something that we've got to be more intentional about. And some more to country love, we were at a little concession stand, picked up some food. There aren't really many bench tables around while we were grabbing some food. And coolest thing ever, guys operating their stand, they gave us 2 of their chairs, and then they went and brought 2 buckets that they normally carry food in, and let us sit on those, so that my family could just sit down and enjoy ourselves if we were willing to do that. Yeah, my wife said it best. Country folk. Country folk. Now she's looking at me like, am I supposed to say something while you're on the radio, or am I supposed to sit here and just buy my own beeswax? Go on, honey. Tell my crew that's out there listening. She doesn't want to say anything, everyone. She's a little bit radio shy right now. So, and all my other kids, they're out cold in the car. So, the ride back to relaxation has knocked them out. And again, I really appreciate you guys listening in and paying attention. There's a lot of things that are going to be coming up again. We've got Labor Day weekend this week. We're finishing this up. We've got major elections that are happening here. Someone actually passed me something in the email and a message in Facebook earlier this week that stated that Donald Trump had personally met with a lot of evangelicals. Supposedly, Donald Trump had met with a lot of evangelicals over the last couple of weeks and basically sent out a warning, basically saying that this midterm election will severely affect our rights as Christians. Now trust me, I have my many days of tinfoil hat situation, so I really don't know how to grasp this or decide whether or not this is actually something that's truly legitimate. There's a lot of the material that's been passing around lately that, from some friends that I'm like, is this something that we can rely on? And, people get wrapped up in this issue of prophetic warnings and everything like that. I'm just going to say this much. America has been declining morally, and we have a lot to be concerned about. I believe that a lot of people become indifferent and apathetic towards their love. And I'm not sitting here saying, okay, we got to worship the flag. But if you're in this country as an American citizen, you're blessed. There are people dying to come to this country. And I think that we have put ourselves in a horrible situation where, let's get away from all the prophecies surrounding the president and just look and see what the Bible has to say. I don't know if I could really run with basically stating that, all these prophetic warnings happen just because Donald Trump is in office. Now, I will say this much. If this man figures out a way to broker a deal of peace in the Middle East, yes, I will be concerned. I have to laugh, though, because in the middle of this week, you're starting to hear that there may be talks and conversations with Donald Trump and the president of Mexico, and that we might see some kind of agreement, some new NAFTA deal, and then someone saying that we might actually finally see a wall be built. I'll tell you this much, guys. A lot of you who hate Trump, a lot of you who despise Trump right now, it's really sad because he's getting a lot accomplished. He's fulfilling the things that he said he would do. And if he brokers a deal and he figures out a way to get Mexico to pay for this wall, there's going to be a lot of people eating a lot of crow. I don't know, maybe that's the reason why you have all these individuals who are going out of their way to tear him apart because they don't want to see him succeed. Another one that I thought was really interesting that was going on in the country right now was everybody's wrapped around this whole nightmare nonsense with Bill Clinton staring at Ariana Grande's behind when he was at when she was at doing a tribute to Aretha Franklin. Guys, we know this man's a pervert. We know that this man has many problems, and you know what? The president does as well too. The president does as well in the event as we know that he's engaged in some immoral behavior. You don't get to 4 marriages on doing things the right way. I mean, doing things, the right way. You get to that many marriages because of the fact that there's some behavior in yourself that basically says to another person. Now, some people are in it for the money. Trust me, I know that. But then there are some people who maybe they honestly want to work out and have a decent relationship. And everybody, I'm like, can I ask you something? Can we leave the Bill Clinton stuff alone? Can we just ignore him like we just need to ignore people like Michael Moore, MSNBC, CBS, CNN? Why don't we just redirect our attention? The less attention that we give them, guess what? We are giving them more play, more ground by focusing on their lack of integrity. And the country continues to remain divided as long as we continue to bring up the folly of what those organizations and what those networks are doing. Our country needs us united. Our country needs us less divided. And that's some serious country love, that we could put aside the stupidity and really focus on what matters most. And what matters most is our country needs us to get our act together. Because if we don't do it, we can start seeing America continue to crumble on the weight of our inability to reconcile our differences and respect one another and love one another. And I say that seriously because of the fact that there are far too many of us who bear the name Christians, who bear ourselves the name of being a follower of Jesus Christ. And we're wrapped up in a lot of unforgiveness. And we're wrapped up in a lot of broken relationships. And it does not do anything that moves us towards a level of healing and a level of unification that's long been required in our country. Listen, I am going to get into an area where you may not hear me again because of where I'm traveling right now. So let's do this for now. Watson Prunier on Battle for Freedom on Lanterns Radio Network. Thank you for the love and support. God bless and take care.